Hey there, this is Areli from withhisgifts.com. Welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Today I have another video tutorial for you, and we are going to create this gorgeous card. So let's go ahead and get started. Today we're going to use the Beautiful Day stamp set, and we will also be using the Petal palette stamp set. Specifically these dots here for some background stamping. For our ink, we are going to use the Crumb Cake ink pad. We will also be using the Crumb Cake combo pack in the Stampin' blends, the Stampin' blend Pool Party Light, the Stampin' blend color lifter, and we'll also be using the Stampin' Right in the Crumb Cake. We'll also be using the Versamark stamp pad along with our embossing buddy and some white embossing powder. And for our paper, I have my card base here that is cut at 8.5 by 4 1/4, scored at 5.5, and that is the Crumb Cake. I have my card base, also Crumb Cake, cut at 4 by 5 1/4. I have a piece of Crumb Cake, which will be one of our layers, and this is cut at 4.5 by 3 1/4, and a piece of the Whisper White also cut at 4.5 by 3 1/4. I then have just some scrap Whisper White to stamp the butterfly on, and then another piece of the Whisper White, also scrap, for my sentiment. The other things that we'll be using today are our heat tool. We'll also be using our snail adhesive, mini glue dots, bone folder, paper snips. We'll be using some linen thread. I have about 80 inches of it here. We will also be using a delicate white doily, as well as some drywall tape. Let's go ahead and get started with stamping our gorgeous butterfly. So I'm grabbing the scrap piece of the Whisper White that I have. I'm going to go ahead and grab my markers and have them handy here. My Crumb Cake ink pad. I'm going to open that up, and then I'm going to grab my butterfly stamp right here. And then I am going to ink that up in the Crumb Cake, like so. Okay. And then I am going to stamp it right about there. Just like that. Alrighty. We will next begin to color, and we are going to start with the Crumb Cake Light, and we're going to use the wide tip for our coloring. And what I'm going to do is just color in all of my white spaces here. Okay. The lines that we just stamped will fade a bit, but that is perfect because that's the look that I was going for. They're still there, but faintly. So let's just go and do this wherever you see white space in the butterfly. Color it with your light Crumb Cake Stampin' blend. Righty, and there is step 1. Next, what we are going to do is take our Crumb Cake Dark in the Stampin' blend, also wide tip, and I am going to go around the edge of my butterfly, like so. I'm not trying to be perfect. If I go outside the line, that's perfectly fine, because we're going to cut this lovely butterfly out. Okay, so just like that, I am just going around my edge. Then I'm going to come back with my light And then I'm going to small circular motion here. I am going to blend out that line some. Okay, like so. And then we're going to push the color towards the center, like that. Okay, I'm going to do that all the way around. So circular motions right where the two colors meet to soften that line up. And then I'm going to push my color towards the center or away from the dark. Okay. Just like that. And we are going to do that all the way around our butterfly. I'm going to speed this up a bit, otherwise we will be here forever and you may bail on me and not watch my video. So again, around the edge, blend the lines, the harsh line, and then push it out. And so here's what we have so far. We went through and stamped it in the crumb cake, then we colored it in the crumb cake light with the Stampin' blend, and then outlined in the dark, blending that in so that it blends. So now the next step is to take our Pool Party light, and I am going to color around the center. We're not coming all the way to the blended edge there. We're just coloring it like so. Okay. Beautiful. We're going to do the same thing over here. Putting some blue down. Okay. Just like that. And then we're going to take our crumb cake light, and I'm going to go around my edge right here, like so. And then we'll push that in, blended with the light Pool Party. Just a little. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and speed this up a bit. We're blending out the line, and then we're going to push that towards the center. Okay, so this is what we have so far. Now we're going to go ahead and take our color lifter, also the wide tip, and I'm just going to randomly the lines that the lines of the butterfly that we originally stamped are still there. They're really faint, but they're still there. So I'm going inside of each of those sections and just randomly, not completely, just randomly applying some of the color lifter to lighten up some of the color, giving it further depth and dimension. Okay, so just random. Just random. Okay. And with the color lifter, just apply a little bit and then wait, because it's a little, it's not like hours, you don't have to wait hours, but it doesn't lift immediately, but you'll start, like you'll see it now. Oops, sorry. You'll see it start to lift now. And it starts to look like kind of like when you spill bleach on something that you should not have put bleach on. Just lifts the color away a little bit. It's a good technique for when you color outside the line and did not intend to, and also for lightening color, which is what we're doing here. So I'm just randomly lightening up my color a bit, like so. Okay, and there's my gorgeous butterfly. Isn't that beautiful? So now what we're going to do to finish my butterfly up is to take my Stampin' Blend and the crumb cake. I did not know the effect that if this would bleed out. So I'm not going to use my Stampin' Blend. I'm going to use my Stampin' Right to color the butterfly's body and head and antenna. Just because it's really light, and so I want it to be a little bit darker. Okay, just like that. Okay, how beautiful is that? And now I'm going to fussy cut this. I'm not gonna put you through that ordeal. You've seen a million, maybe not that many, but you've seen it done before. So what I'm gonna do is fussy cut around the butterfly, taking extra care around the antenna. And I will meet you back here when I'm all done. And there is our gorgeous butterfly, all cut out and all colored. You may or may not be able to see how gorgeous it is, but there are always pictures at the end of my videos so that you can get a good look of my projects. Okay, so now we're going to move on with getting the rest of the card ready. And we're going to go ahead and grab pieces of the crumb cake. We're going to start with this one here. And again, we are using the Petal palette specifically for these lovely little dots here. And I'm going to grab my crumb cake. And we're just going to stamp the whole front of our card front. Just like so. And continue on all the way up our card. Just giving it some subtle color and dimension. Okay, and there is our card front, all nice and decorated. We're going to set it aside with our butterfly, and then grab the smaller crumb cake. We go ahead and grab a scrap piece of paper so that I can catch my embossing powder, because we're going to emboss the same stamp image onto this card stock. Alright, and let's go ahead and grab our things and get ready. I'm going to start with my embossing buddy, and I'm just going to rub it across the front of my card stock. Then I'm going to ink my stamp in the Versamark ink, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to go all the way up to the top of this. Okay, so there's that. Next thing we want to do is grab our embossing powder, and we're just going to pour it generously all over our card stock here, so that it can stick to all those lovely little dots that we just stamped. Okay, there's that. And the next thing that we're going to do is carefully lift this off our embossing powder. Remember, we don't want to smear any of the lovely little dots that we just stamped. Okay, so let me set this aside really quick and collect this embossing powder back into my container. Okay, next I'm going to pick it back up carefully. I'm being careful not to touch the front of my card. I'm going to turn on my heat tool, and I'm going to melt that embossing powder. Alrighty, there is that. We're going to go ahead and set that aside as well. And our final stamping of the day will be our lovely little sentiment. And that is the Always Thinking of You from the Beautiful Day stamp set. And we are going to actually use our Stampin' right in the crumb cake to stamp or to color. I don't know if my crumb cake needs re-inking, but when I tried to stamp this for the card that I made beforehand, it was a little bit too light for my liking. And then the other browns in the neutral family were a little bit too dark. So I found that this was just right. So that's what I'm going with. Okay. So let me make sure I see my up, all right? And I'm going to stamp close to the top here because I will be trimming some of this away. Okay. Just like that. There we go. And then with my scissors, little snips, I'm going to, as straight as I can, I'm not going to OCD about it, but I'm going to cut this down a little bit. Like that. Okay. And I think that it's not straight up on the top, so we're going to straighten that out a bit. Okay, like that. And then the next thing that we're going to do is bring that in a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and flat both of my ends here. So I cut up down the center there and then bring both corners up to that point. Just like that. Do the same thing on the other side. And then we'll be ready to put this card together. So there is that. Let's go ahead and grab our piece of the Whisper White, and let's go ahead and grab our drywall tape. This stuff is awesome for adding texture to your projects. It has a sticky back and it's totally forgivable, so it's not like a permanent. You totally can reposition it if you get it in the wrong spot. So what I did was put some across the top there. No adhesive required because, like I said, it already has a sticky back. And I'm going to go ahead and finish that. Like so. Pushing it down so it sticks. And then I'm going to cut that out. Like that. I will trim it around the edge of my paper, and if it sticks out a little bit, that is awesome because it further contributes, see the little spikes, further contributes to the dimension that we are trying to achieve. So just like that. Okay, now I think we're ready. Let's grab our card base and fold it in half. Here's my bone folder. Come down some. Okay. We'll have our card front sit right here, but before we adhere it, I'm going to go ahead and grab my linen thread. And I did mention that there were about 80 inches. I know that's a lot. Uh-oh. I think I tangled up a minute, so let me fix this and I'll be back. See? Tangled. So I am untangled. And like I said, I have a lot of linen thread here. You probably don't need as much as I do. I like to be generous with this because I am challenged with tying bows as it is, so I give myself plenty of extra. So what I did was took this huge piece of linen thread and I folded it in half. So I took my two ends here, put them together, and folded it in half. Now I'm going to take both of my ends again and fold that in half. So I have 4 strands of linen thread, which is what I want and need. Okay? So I'm going to take this, the card front here, and my snail adhesive, and I'm going to apply some down the middle towards the bottom. okay? Because that is where this needs to go. So I'm just going to set it in the adhesive. Push it down like so. And I'm also going to put some snail right there, further secure it on that end and this end, like that. Okay, and then while this is turned upside down, I will further add snail so that we can put this down on our card base. Okay, alright, so now we flip this over, grab our card base, and center that just like that. Okay, let's open it up. Make sure it's nice and secure, like that. Okay, the next step that we want to do is grab the piece of the Whisper White that we put drywall tape on, flip it over, and put some snail on the back of that. Okay, and then we're going to put that on the front of our card. We're going to put that closer to the top and tilt it to the left just a little bit, like that. Okay, so then let's set this right there for one hot second. Let's grab this piece here, and we are going to grab our doily. Okay, and we are going to flip this over, and then over on this side here we're going to put a little strip of snail, and we're going to flip that back, making sure we don't attach it to anything. We're going to put our doily, we're going to overlap it out to the left a little bit, like so. Actually, let's go ahead and do this. Let's put some snail on the center carefully. There we go. Now we'll do that. We're going to set it. I'm not pressing down. I'm going to move my hand so you can see right where I'm positioning it. So I have just a little bit of it extended off the side there. I'm going to push down on the center, and then I'm going to flip this over and put that on the adhesive that's on the back. So that's what we have so far. See? Isn't that beautiful? Now I'm going to flip this over again, put some snail on there, and we're going to put this on the front of our card as well. We're going to bring that down a little bit like so. We're going to tilt it the opposite way, right about there. Isn't that beautiful? Alright, so now we're going to tie our lovely bow, and for that I'm going to flip it upside down because that's how I roll. With my bows, I just have to be upside down. Okay, making sure that's secure. Alright, so I'm going to tie a bow here. And I'm not going to make you watch because me tying bows is not a pretty thing. So I will be back with a bow. Okay, there is my bow. I will go ahead and snip these apart here. Okay, and then I am going to hold on to my bow, and I'm going to flip so that it curls my little tails because it's so pretty. Alright, so there's that. Now I'm going to grab some glue dots and my sentiment, and I'm going to put one on each end and one in the middle. Okay, we're going to set that right about there. So we're going to tilt it like that. It's okay if it's covered up by the bow. And then our lovely little butterfly. Some more glue dots. I'm going to put one behind the head and behind the body. Okay, and then I think I got that a little bit too low. Moving that up. Okay, perfect. So then I'm going to bend my wings and I'm going to place my butterfly right on the front of my card like that. There you have it. Super duper easy, super duper quick, and super duper elegant. So if you want to make these beautiful cards at home, jot down the supply list down below, then head on over to my website at withhisgifts.com and place your order today so you can make these gorgeous cards for all the people that you love the most. And if you enjoyed this video tutorial, please leave me a comment down below. I love to read your comments. Give me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Until next time, thank you and have a great day.